Hello, my name is Madison Brett, and today I will be presenting a Meadow Hospital change management presentation. Meadow Hospital has successfully implemented an EHR system that offers electronic lab results to patients and offers stronger IT support. In using the new system, a bedside nurse at Meadow Hospital requested that changes be made to the nursing documentation section. An IT analyst quickly made the changes without realizing that information had been shared with the respiratory therapy team, which then impacted their ability to chart patient data. The IT help desk received several calls and fixed the issue within a few hours, but this scenario has led me to consider the importance in reducing the risk of this scenario occurring in the future. As a healthcare consultant, I will outline my recommendations for implementing a change control process so that the IT leadership team can prevent future scenarios. A change control process is used in project management to manage and capture change requests that will impact a project from the point that they are identified through to the point of approval or rejection. It's important to follow this process as it ensures that every change request is thoroughly evaluated to avoid disruptions in the project and wasted time or resources. In this scenario, the change control process should have started when the bedside nurse came forward with a change request for nursing documentation, but unfortunately the IT analyst immediately implemented the change without considering change management policies and procedures. As the IT leadership team, you should implement a change control process to evaluate proposed changes before implementation using these 6 suggested steps. Identify change requests, develop change control procedures and policies, create an impact summary, analyze and make a decision, implement the change, and measure results. In the first step, you should determine if a change proposal requires a change request, which is based on whether or not it will be time-consuming and greatly impact the project. If it's impactful, the proposal should be officially outlined in a form as a change request, which should outline the description of the change, the reason for the change, the impact on budget, timeline, risks, resources, stakeholders, end users, and patients, and proposed actions of change. The form should include an expiration date or an approval by date so that there is a certain amount of time allocated to reviewing the change request. The picture on the slide is an example of a change request form template that can be used in developing Meadow Hospital's own change request form. In the second step, the IT leadership team should designate a primary project leader to outline procedures and policies for the change control process. In this scenario, I suggest appointing the CIO as the project leader, as they were appointed the leader of the EHR implementation project, and thus will understand how changes may impact the EHR system. This leader will follow a procedure to formalize change request documents so that they include an outline of rationale, objectives, impact, change category, and cost of the change. The change category will be defined as standard, normal, major, or emergency, which identifies how crucial the change is in terms of urgency and risk. As another procedure, I suggest that they select a change advisory board, referred to as CAB, with 10 to 20 members, with representatives from each department of the hospital. I suggest that they develop a procedure for evaluating change by creating an evaluation matrix that will be used to analyze risk, cost, impact on stakeholders, and communication plans. The image on this slide shows an example of an evaluation matrix. They should develop a procedure for managing change requests by creating a change log that records all approved, deferred, and rejected change requests that have taken place. Lastly, they should create a document for analyzing changes post-implementation so that they can learn from previous change requests and their outcomes. The following slide outlines policies that should be in place for the change control process. Change requests should be submitted to a Meadow Hospital official change management portal to be analyzed. Changes are not to be completed until they are approved according to the procedures outlined in the previous slide. The change request document and evaluation matrix must be fully completed and identify the impact of change on the project. In this scenario, these documents would have helped to identify the impact of the change on the EHR system and on the ability of the respiratory therapy team to chart patient data. To avoid similar scenarios where patient information is unknowingly shared with another team, all change requests involving personal patient information should involve high security measures and IT encryption. The change log should constantly be kept up to date so that change requests that are deferred or rejected are not implemented. To the right, you will see an example of a change log document in which all change requests will be listed with their IDs, status, priority ranking, type of request, details, and dates. In the third step, a chart or document can be used to outline who and what will be impacted by the change, including stakeholders, end users, patients, employees, budget, costs, resources, and work schedule. The impact summary should include details as to how they will each be impacted both positively and negatively. The summary should also discuss how the change will improve the project at hand, which in this scenario means that any proposed change for the new EHR system should outline how it will improve performance efficiency, cost effectiveness, patient experience, and end user utilization. In the fourth step, change requests should be analyzed to determine if they disrupt or overlap with any of the current project tasks. After reviewing the change request form and the evaluation matrix, the CAB members and the leader should meet to decide on assigning an approval, deferral, or rejection status to the proposed change. It's easier if draft templates for approval, deferral, and rejection are created prior to making this decision so that they can quickly be filled out after a decision is made. It's important to set up regularly scheduled meetings between the project leader, IT leadership, and CAB members, which should include representatives from finance, marketing, administration, IT, and each medical unit of the hospital. These meetings should discuss change requests that have been submitted to evaluate the proposed changes as a team and to avoid a backlog of requests. Throughout these meetings, the project leader should enforce that all procedures and policies be considered while analyzing change requests. The meetings present the opportunity to discuss how previous changes have failed and what improvements can be made to the change control process for future change requests. All members at the meeting should be able to review a copy of the change request form and the evaluation matrix to assess how the change will impact the employees in their specific departments. I would suggest scheduling monthly meetings to keep up to date with change requests, but if there's a request that requires more attention, weekly meetings should be considered until a final decision is made. In the fifth step, the IT leadership team should prepare a plan for implementing the change that breaks down responsibility, costs, and timeline. A regression test should be used to determine if the proposed change will work after implementation. This prepares the IT leadership team in the event that the change proves to be too much when it begins to be implemented. The project leader should work with IT leadership, IT analysts, and CAB members to ensure that the change is implemented effectively. The chart to the right is an example of how to prepare the implementation plan. In the last step, measure results. IT leadership should prepare performance metrics to track the results of the change and the efficacy of the change control process. They should measure organizational and individual performance post-change. Organizational measures will consider the speed of implementation, the costs incurred, return on investment, and patient satisfaction. Individual measures will consider how well end users can operate the system with the new change in place and how accepting they are of the change. A good measure of individual response to change is evident in the volume of complaints to the IT help desk. Since the IT help desk received several calls regarding the system issue in this scenario, it tells us that there was limited proficiency to the nursing documentation change, especially for employees in the respiratory therapy department. As a last step, it's important that IT leadership and CAB members sign off on the change in a change log, where they can confirm that the change has been fully completed. This can be done in a change control meeting so that all deciding parties have the opportunity to approve of the completed change and its measures. It's important to communicate changes with end users and all employees to avoid any resistance and increase buy-in. It's important to hold education and training sessions for employees so that they are equally understanding of the change and the benefits of the change control process. In communicating with end users, Meadow Hospital would be encouraging end user involvement and demonstrate that they are open to feedback and to address any concerns. Meadow Hospital will improve the level of trust and connection they have with the employees as they are encouraging openness and honesty. End users can ask questions during training and education sessions, or IT leadership can set up meetings with the appointed leaders of end user groups to address concerns. The hospital should use updated manuals and written documentation that detail the changes so that end users can access information in written form at any time. The following slide includes my text references, and the last slide includes my image references. Thank you for listening.